All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. If you are joining or watching, so what this is about is going over picoCTF. So I learned about this probably about 2 years ago, I guess. So some folk that I used to work with, they do these challenges, picoCTF. It's run by a university in the US, and it's really pretty cool stuff. So they carry out every so often events. So as you can see, once I get rid of my lock screen, the events are run periodically every year. So if you come to compute, you can see all the past events down below here. So generally they run, I think, at the beginning of the year and then towards the end of the year as well. So we kind of do one maybe around September, October timeframe. I'm not too sure when the next event is, but keep a lookout. I highly recommend. They are pretty awesome, great fun, and more importantly, they're not like many CTS where it's just straight in the most difficult thing you can think of. So for those looking to learn CTFs and get introduced to CTFs, the picoCTF is like a great place to start. They generally start off with beginner stuff and then work their way up. So it's a really beginner-friendly CTF, which you'll see in a bit. I think that's really important if you can start on CTS, because sometimes they can be very daunting, especially when you have challenges that you know yourself you're never going to actually succeed in doing. I have this all the time. I'm terrible at CTS. I'm still trying to learn and get better. That's why I like picoCTFs, because I can do some of the challenges and then improve my skills and then move on and up. So yeah, and then they also have challenges that are pretty challenging. So those are always great to do as well, once you've built up the skills and confidence to do so. So once they do all the challenges for the event and the event's completed, they come into a kind of bucket, which is the practice area. And yeah, you can see here all the challenges. So they've got things covering off like web-based vulnerabilities. So finding the flag in the web-based vulnerability, vulnerabilities in cryptography, reverse engineering, binary exploitation, so on and so forth. So it's also a good way to explore an area that you are interested in, an area to help upskill you, and also an area that you may have not had much exposure to, and then you can get further exposure. And as you can see here, they just throw all the previous events challenges in there, so you can actually filter on them. For this, you'll have to go off and create an account. So it's play.picoCTF.org, and yeah, sign up there and give it a go. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. Is we're going to give it a go and try some of these challenges. So the very first one, you can see that I've done some of these, and yeah, we'll give some a go. I was just wondering why all the challenges aren't there. I had the filter on. So yeah, actually, let's go into general skills, because some of these are really, 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 really easy. And then we will get on and try to do some of the web skills. So this one is called obedientcat. So this file has a flag in plain sight, aka clear, and then you can just download a file. So if we go off and save this file, and if we open up a terminal, and let's just do some things for this file before we actually just open it. All right, so flag. So what we can do is if you type file and then flag, or the file you want to inspect, it'll tell you what type of file it is. So in this case, it's just an ASCII text. So we know that we can just read that file and there should be some information in there. So with that, we can just cat it, which is great. So there's the flag, but you can also do things like this. So strings is probably going to be useful on more likely like binary files. So this will print out all the strings within that file. So that's really good if you're going to inspect a binary file. There could be things like passwords or keys stored within that binary file, and using something like strings, you can potentially pull those out. I think I've even seen, what do you call it, private RSA keys in binary files before, which is why you got to be careful when you create binary files that you appropriately encrypt them, or make sure that the strings, something as simple as strings, can't be used to get it out. So yeah, that one was really, really easy. So yeah, I'm trying to avoid some of the Python ones and that. So let's go off and do this. So there's a nice program you can talk to by using the command shell. So you just do a netcat on that, but it doesn't speak English. All right, so let's try that, right? So copy that and paste that in. So I'm assuming, yeah, okay. It's got all these. So that's all decimal. So we have to work out what these correspond to. So one thing that we could do is come to a really awesome tool called CyberChef. If you haven't got this or bookmark this, I highly recommend you do. It's done by GHCQ, and it's a really fantastic tool. It's got loads and loads and loads and loads of different things that you can do with it. It's really like a Swiss Army knife. I know people say netcat is, but this is like really Swiss Army knife. You can do all sorts of things like decode, encode. It has some, I'm pretty sure it's got some like encryption. So if you're looking at like ROT encryption, it's got all of those. It's got like JWT decoder. You can even beautify JSON strings, so JSON minify and beautify and that. So as you can see, it's got a whole bunch. One thing that we're looking for here is probably the data format. So we can try a different one of these. So you can do this. There we go. And that's why it's so great. And the point of CyberChef is, as the name kind of indicates, it's chef. So you have these kind of operations that you bundle together and create a recipe. Where this could be helpful is like if you've got multiple steps needed. So you have input and then you have to decode it and, I don't know, do a ROT 13 or something like that together to then produce the output. Or you can start linking these things up and then you get the output. So in this case, it was as simple as that, just figuring out basically the data format and then just getting that in. So that one was pretty easy. There we go. Should have the flag. Yay. All right, let's try this Python wrangling. So there's a Python script. You run terminal. Can you run the Python script? So we'll download the Python script. There's a password. So we'll say the password to get the flag. What is the flag? All right. So we've got a few files here. So let's go off and actually investigate those files. So I'm just going to remove some of the other things lingering about so we can get rid of that and get it cleared up. And let's remove flag. All right. So we have a Python script. So let's actually view the Python script. So view is a kind of read-only command to view a file. It kind of views Vimish. So you use the same commands that you do in Vim. So you can do a search like with / and then, I don't know, lang, and then n to go through the different things. So I find it useful. It's not because it's read-only. So you're not going to accidentally make issues with or accidental edits to a file. All right, so this bit of Python. So Python is a scripting language. It's a really awesome language. I personally enjoy using it. I am still trying to learn it. I'm come primarily from Java background, so it is quite a bit different. Java is an interpreted language, so it goes through a compiler, whereas Python is not. It kind of runs. You can compile Python code, but you can also just run it via the source code, so there's no kind of compilation going on. Hence a scripting language, but it is quite nice the way things flow and the syntax and that. It's quite enjoyable in my opinion. All right, so we have a usage, we have some things that are run. So this is taking in some arguments. Please enter in the password, writing out enter the password, and yeah, so there's E, which is imagine encrypt, and minus D, which is imagine decrypt. So let's try run it. So Python scripts as well. If you've got the, I don't know what it's called, but the beginning bit, like it's explanation hash or hash explanation /bin /Python, then you can actually run it like a script. But in this case, I don't think it has that. Forgot. If we look at the top, no. So in this case, we can run the Python script using the Python and then the script name. So I think it was that. So there we go. So let's also look at pwd text. So that's password, and then the flag is that. So that's encrypted. So I think E would be the password. No, that's probably the flag. And then the key is going to be that. So that will probably be the key. Let's do that and then call it flag text. What? That's weird. All right, so let's just run it like that, and then paste that in, and then it should give us a decrypted. We're not going to encrypt it. We want to decrypt it. There we go. So I was overthinking it. So this is actually a good point with some of these CTFs. Sometimes the simpler CFs, like the challenges, are really simple as it seems. And sometimes you might like overthink it. So in this one, I'm like, it can't be as simple as just simply running the Python script, right? But in reality, it sometimes is as simple as that. So got to avoid trying to overthink things sometimes, because I've certainly gotten stuck where because I've just gone off and overthought things rather than just trying the simpler approaches, and it turned out the simpler approach was just what you needed. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Wave a flag. Can you invoke help flags for a tool or binary? This program has extraordinary helpful information. So if you download this file, we'll see what it is. Okay, so what's that? Warm So we can do a files on warm, on a file on warm, and it should say, yeah, it's executable. So if we try to run this, it's not going to work. Okay, because it doesn't have the X, which is the executable flag on the permissions. So what we can do is do a chmod plus X warm. So now we should be able to run it. Okay. So using the -H. And yeah, it was as simple as that. So running that with the -H, and then that gave you the flag. So I guess just getting used to running commands with different arguments. And this is the way I said, like picoCTF, some of these things are already beginner level, but it's often a case of also confidence boosting. So let's do one more of these and then we'll try others. So static and a bash script. So there's some data in a static file and then the bash script. Okay, so before we run the bash script, let's have a look. Let's get rid of stuff. And so just gonna pw and okay, so we have the static. So what is that? Okay, so that static is a binary. So what we can do is static. And if we run it, what does it do? Okay. So there's no flag in there. Now, I don't think this is approach, but we can try it. So remember I said there's the strings that will pull out all the strings in the file itself. So if you actually go off and look at the file, you will see all these different strings. Yeah, and I thought that might be the case. But I don't think this is the way they intended us to solve this lab. Because I said there's a bash script that could be helpful. So we'll go look at that bash script and try to see maybe the correct way. But as I mentioned earlier, there's the strings. So if we actually go view the file, you'll see there's a lot of binary data, but in amongst the binary data, there are those strings. And that strings command just pulls out all those strings. So it's a really useful way of just viewing all the strings in a binary file. And then you can get things like keys and flags in this case. So there's a flag there. I'm just going to save it here just in case. We'll actually just submit that now. So let's come back to this because I don't think that's the way they intended us to finish it. So let's actually view that. All right. So when I was talking about the Python scripts earlier, this is what I was meaning. I don't know what this is called. If anyone knows, please leave a mention in the comments. The first line of the script file, I don't know. It has to have some sort of name, but I've never had a need to call it out by its name. But anyway, so if in that previous example, if we did the hash explanation /bin /Python, then you could just run it like you would with the script. So again, that's really cool things with Python. Just so much you can do with it. All right, so this looks to do an object dump. So it's attempting assembly of that. So I think we're going to pass the binary in to the script, and it does a object dump. Basically like disassembly. So this is now kind of getting along the lines of reverse engineering and binary exploitation and that kind of stuff. We did it the really easy route, but let's try it this way. So same with the script tag, we're going to have executable because we're actually going to run it. So if we just run it, right, so no file. So if we now pass in static, it should do that. So the reason why, sorry, I didn't mention that, but the reason why I'm passing in the file is because it actually takes a file in the shell command. So $1 means the argument parameters. So $1 means the first one. So in this case, it's taking in the file that we provided, doing the subject dump, and yeah. So as you can see there's the file, it took it in. And it should have produced that other file, this file here. So did it do that? Yep. Oh, it also did the strings, which I guess was just the strings. But let's have a look and see what's here. Binary exploitation is certainly not my thing. So it is an area that I don't know a particularly lot about. But this is all machine code. So yeah, going to like really low level stuff, because that's how binaries typically work. They get higher level language that gets interpreted into machine code. And yeah, there's nothing here that's actually standing out. It's all gobbledygook. Is there any flag? So what we could also do is just pop it to grep and just search for pico. No. All right, so we also did see the strings. I suspect that strings is just the strings outputs, which is what we kind of did anyway. And there it is there. Let's just actually look at the script again and see the strings. Okay, it must be part of the object dump that does it. Again, I'm not familiar with this command, but as you see, you could do strings as well. No, it's doing strings there. Yep. So yeah, that's that challenge. Next up, let's try do some of the web app hacking and get this one going. So here's a flag here, and there is this service here. Put that in. So the first thing I do when I get to this is play around and also view the source code. I learned the other day that I think you can view the source code via Control U. Nice good little shortcut there. Save you a bit of time. So looking at source code, there's no flag. There's nothing really significant or interesting here. So if you play around, do choose blue, choose red. So obviously these buttons change the color. Again, nothing too particularly interesting there. So let's go have a look at the history and see what's going on. So here's where we loaded the page. That's when we did the get of the source code. But here we can see something a bit more interesting. So one of the calls does a get request, HTTP request, and then the other call does a HTTP post. Yeah, so it's something to do with potentially the method. And you can see it changes the colors. So what we can do is send this to intruder and try the different methods. So we'll add a payload parameter here and come to our payloads, and we'll add in the different methods. If you're using the pro version, I think there is the HTTP verbs, which is the methods, but I'm just going to add them manually so we can go through them for those who don't have the pro. So obviously the first one is get, then post, then head. So head just returns the headers as the name suggests. So the server will just return the headers. There's trace, which is used for tracing. this is largely disabled because there are things that you can do with this. So it represents a security issue. There's put. So put is similar to post, but it's mainly used for updates rather than creating something new. There's also patch, which is similar. Then there's delete, which deletes something. What else? I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, there's options. So options is used in the cores, cross-origin resource sharing, pre-flight check. So I think those are all the headers. I might be missing one or two, but those are the main ones. So if we start the attack, off we'll go. Now, when you're looking at the intruder, there are a few things that you're looking for. I look to the status code, and then I also look to the length. So the first one is the actual original request before we've modified anything. So you can use this to see the request and response. And before going any further, so if you remember, I said the head, it just returns the head. And then, yeah, we can actually see the flag itself as well. It's just by chance, the head's the one. But as you can see, also, I'll come to it, the name also really suggests it. But the other column, what you're also looking for is the length. So anything significantly different, in this case, the 103 is the one that stands out. So in this case, that's a flag, and we can take that and then solve the challenge. As the name suggests as well, get head. So head is the method, so that kind of indicates the direction you go. So sometimes these challenges play on words with the title, and then you can use that as a kind of hint. The next one is cookies. So let's copy that, and we'll go try this one. I'm going to just clear this stuff and close that. Let's get rid of that. So clear that. All right. Go and get this. Okay, so we have cookies. As I said, first thing, let's try see what's going on with the source code. Anything interesting here? So it's green, blue, yellow, and red. All right. There is some JavaScript at the end there, but nothing too exciting. And yeah, nothing too exciting here at all. So it's got a default thing there, but let's just put in different values and see what happens. So it doesn't seem to be anything interesting. And let's go take a look at what's happening here. So it does a post with the name and nothing too interesting there other than the session. So is that anything interesting? So immediately out of the bat, this to me looks like a JWT token. And the reason why I say that is it looks to be base64 encoded and separated by two periods. One there and one there. So what we can do is come to our trusty Cyberchef tool. Get rid of that. Put that in there and look for JWT, and we'll decode this. Now there are plugins in Burp Suite, but Cyberchef does a really awesome job. Okay, so this isn't primarily because I don't think that's JW. That's base64, the underscore. What is it? Just want to double check because I think I'm missing a period there. Let's just copy that. Copy. Ah, okay. Where is it? The dot. Oh well. I must be going blind Oh, there it is. So the next thing we can do is let's just try do a base64 decode it and actually see if it's anything there. So let's get rid of that and base64. Base64 bake. All right. So there is that. Doesn't appear to be a valid cookie. All right, but that's not that interesting. So let's get the next one. That, and we already assessed that's probably not base64, the last bit, but we'll try it out nevertheless. Okay, so that's nothing interesting there. And then this bit, I suspect, is some binary data that's, yeah, probably encrypted or something. So, nothing too interesting there. So that's that session. Now, there is an interesting thing here is with the cookie, you got a -1. Sorry, the cookie name. The cookie name. I'll get myself confused. Anyway, I guess you know what I'm talking about. So this name cookie here is -1. So what happens if we start changing that? So we can play around with that. So let's change it to a 0 and see what happens. Okay, so that's doing a redirect. Anything interesting? Yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, so it's a cookie, but not very special. All right, so what about 4? Anything there? Okay, so it looks like it's doing something. So this is where we can now send it to intruder. Let's clear those, and we just want this one here. So we're going to add a payload here, and we're just going to iterate through a bunch of numbers. So we'll go to numbers, and we'll start from, so we know -1, so we'll start at 0 and then work our way up to, I don't know, 20. Start at 1. So we're going to go from 0 to 20 in increments of 1. So as I said before, first thing we want to do is look at the status. Nothing interesting here. They're all returning to hundreds. So the next thing is let's look at the length. And I'm sorting it here so we can see if there's anything significant. So there is a bit of difference here. So this one is standing out, but we can also sort that. And yeah, the rest aren't too interesting. So this one here is the one that we want to go have a look at. So this is with the cookie name 18. And if we do the render, because it'll be easy to see, and there we go. We've got the flag. Now, I can't copy it from the render. So if you go into the raw and grab it there. And that one is done. Ooh, get myself confused there. So that one was the cookies. And there, we'll go and get that one done. So the next one, I'll do one more and then call it for this evening, is this one here. So Kishore Balan tipped us off that was coding and following code may need inspection. So there's a link. All right, so let's take that and plug it in. Generally, what else I do is I clear my cache each time because you never know what's being cached and all of that. And also clear out my burp suite logs. Yeah, I clear out my burp suite logs because it just helps keeps things a bit cleaner and makes it easier to see what's going on. So let's do that. Let's clear that. All right. Let's go off and hit the site. My first website. So how I use this to make my site, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, based on the name of the challenge, which is inspector, and based on what's here is inspect me, I suspect what it's doing is asking us to use something to look at the source code, the site source code. Now, because we're using Burp Suite, we can use Burp Suite to do that. Or there's another option, which is developer tools, which I think is Control-Shift-I on Firefox. And we can actually come view the page itself, or you can actually right click on an item and go inspect. And it'll take you directly to that item in the source code in the developer tools inspector. And you can also use this to actually select an item that you want to see, and it'll take you there. But it sometimes can get annoying when you just want to view the source code and it's got that thing all over. And when you hover over the items here, it will highlight them in the page itself. So anything interesting here? HTML is neat. Okay, so we already have some interesting thing here. So there's a comment, and it's part of a flag. So let's copy that. So we're going to copy that. It's the first part of our flag. All right, but there's nothing else. Now, there are other parts. So as I said, I used HTML, so that's HTML. There's also CSS, and then there's JavaScript. Now, it's unlikely to be that one because that's coming directly from Google. I doubt Google if part of this CTF, especially for something like that. But there is a CSS called myCSS, and then the myJS. So what we can do is click on those, but that's not going to work there. So we can still actually view this in the debugger. So if you come into debug, you can see all these files here. So there's the JavaScript, and there should also be style editor with the CSS. Or what else you can do is view the source code, which was Control U, and you can actually click on them and view the thing here. And here you can see that there's part 2 of the flag. And if we were using the developer tools, we should see it at the bottom there. So that was part 2 of the flag. And then the last bit was JavaScript, right? So if we come back to the debugger, we can go in here and we can see it. Is there anything there? Yep, there's the final bit. So that is the flag. No. What was it? It was inspector. Jeez. I messed it up and lost parts of the flag. Let's grab these. And I should have rather used like a notepad or something to jot them down. Would have been far easier. There. I don't know if there's an underscore there. No, there's no space. So that should be the flag. And there we go. So yeah, hopefully that's helped. Giving you a flavor for picoCTF. As I said, they are pretty enjoyable, especially for those new to CTFs. They are definitely doable. And I still enjoy doing them. I was actually having a lot of fun though. Some of them I haven't done for some time. So they are enjoyable. And as I said, like the point is you start off at the beginning, work your way up, and build up not only your skill sets, but your confidence. Sometimes CTFs are confidence based. I'm terrible. I always doubt myself. Probably should doubt myself because, as I said, I'm not that great at CTFs. But yeah, the important thing is also building up your confidence, because sometimes you might have hesitation in taking part in CTFs because, I don't know if I can complete them. So doing more of these types of things will certainly build up that confidence as well. Have a sign up, have a play around. Going forward, I'll see if I can maybe do more sessions where we can cover some more challenges here, but also maybe do some more advanced ones and try out the different ones, like in the crypto and even forensics. We can try some of those because I've pretty much limited experience on like forensics, for instance. So hopefully this has been useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.
Swear I won't forget this, why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up, I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean filled up with emotion. Anger ain't a potion, rub it on like lotion.